In this series, we are trying to bring out the life experiences and the teachings of Venerable Waharaka Thero from Hela Bodhu Piyuma magazines. I hope these precious teachings could bring some light to our path towards Nibbana. The following is a summary taken from the Hela Bodhu Piyuma magazine, version 1, page 7. The topic is how the metta meditation preached by Supreme Buddha has become confused today. To get away from the dangers of Mara, one of the 4 protections, metta is discussed in this recording. Metta is friendship. There are different methods of friendship. 2 enemies who are against a common enemy to have a friendship. That is the way an enemy's enemy becomes a friend. Some way a rough becomes a friend of a rough. Even a misbehavior becomes a friend of a misbehavior. Because both are against goodwill. Accordingly, the friendship in this world exists in different ways. There is one common factor that is seen in friendships, that is the fear. Whether something bad will happen to the friend. According to the gravity of the friendship, if any sorrow happens to a friend, it may affect the other. Also, if one becomes sick, that the other may grieve. Also, metta mind or the loving kindness should be spread boundlessly, sitting, walking, sleeping in all performances without laziness. In Karaniya Metta Sutta says that with metta thought, we can gain liberation or vimukti. If we go with the common saying that as a mother protects her child, metta should be spread to all beings, and if it is the preaching of Buddha, we may need to look at this wisely. When a mother gets a baby, she gets an affection from that time. If the child cries aloud, if the child gets scared of something, or if the child gets a sickness or suffocating, or if she has a doubt about a future disaster, she has no freedom of mind. In breaking, destroying, getting sick, or any other disaster, the mother is always attentive, as mother is living with attachment to the child. Even for little things, she gets afraid and shocked. If she gets the idea of dying, she thinks, what will happen to my child? When a mother has so many children, the shock is more and more. This is a way a mother's friendship prevails. This is not liberation. It is a burning fire. World beings are immense. Among these immeasurable beings, in a moment, how many will die of insect biting? In animals' world, due to nail pricking, so many die in raw conditions. How many are shocking in fear of death? How many are attacking each other? Even a mother have 10 children, loves all alike. She's happy with one child's victory, and she hears another child's death from somebody. What is the pleasure she has? She gets terrified and hurt. So according to these, does a mother gain peace or release? As Supreme Buddha preached or brought from generation to generation or written in a book, still one should think well. And if it is according to the one's heart, one has to accept this. Until today, many people have trusted the saying that the loving kindness should spread to everyone in a way a mother would give loving kindness to her only child. In Buddha's time, once a granddaughter of devotee Vishaka died when she was very little. Vishaka loved this girl very much and she was in pain of the death. The tradition those days was to take the coffin to the cemetery and with the same clothes take a bath and go to their homes. Vishaka also had a bath and with wet clothes went to the temple to listen to a Dhamma talk from Supreme Buddha and to pacify the sorrow. Buddha questioned Visakha, not because Buddha is unaware of the fact, but to find a route for a Dhamma discussion. Then she told that she loved the granddaughter very much and she was unable to bear it up. So came to Buddha to pacify her mind. Then Buddha asked if the granddaughter was living, what was her idea? Then Vishaka replied that then she will be very happy. Then Buddha asked if she has 10 or 100 granddaughters, what will happen? Then she said, then I will be very happy. If all the children in the city Savatthi are your grandchildren, what is your idea? Vishaka replied, then my pleasure will be immense. Then Buddha asked Vishaka, do you know how many children die daily in Savatthi? Maybe 4 or 5 children, was the Vishaka's reply. Then Buddha said, if all of them were your grandchildren, then you will be in wet clothes and wet hair. Will be in sorrow daily. Due to love and attachment, sorrow, fear, lamentation occurs. If there is no love attachment, you will be free from these. Not only your own children, if you consider immense children and proceed to spread metta, what will happen? Will you get liberation with metta thought? We will need to think this properly. If we think all the worldly beings as our own, then there will be fear or lamentation all the time. Similarly, if we go to spread loving kindness to all, what kind of a thought will process in our mind? We will need to look at this wisely. When we develop metta in this way, when animal is in hunger, we will too feel it. If a neighbor leaves the house, leaving a dog tethered for 2, 3 days, we may say those sinners have left that dog in hunger for days. Similarly, a being in a hell cries in thirst due to effect of karma. Boiling water is poured to the mouth and burning in fire due to the karma. Even they die will be reborn in the same place until the karma ends. If a crow or a serpent catching an animal eats it while the animal screams in pain, can we be silent? Those developing loving kindness still will not be able to stay quietly. They will shout more than the animal. Do you think that they shout due to compassion? No, without thinking, automatically it happens. They think due to metta, they feel compassion and shocked by seeing this incident. If it is what happens to their mind, but it is unknowingly happens. Similarly, when a priest is preaching Dhamma, the listeners listens to Dhamma. Even at this time, a serpent swallows a frog closely. Hearing the sound, if the preacher's mind is strong with metta, Dhamma preaching stops. Listening also stops. Now everyone runs after to save the frog. Then what happens when they returns? One they listened is gone. The place where they stops is forgotten. This is one kind of metta. When we develop metta this way, where does the mind go? By the time you go, the serpent had swallowed the frog. Do you beat the serpent? Think about what happened carefully. Similarly, if inside of the house, if there is a squirrel nest, a serpent is aiming to swallow young squirrels, the thought comes, alas, innocent squirrels, may they be well, so we will chase away the serpent. We will put kerosene, and it's a great sorrow in the serpent swallows squirrel babies. We could say, children, I'm going to meditate a little. Please look after the squirrels. Saying so sits down to meditation. May all beings be well, healthy, and peaceful. If the children, without seeing to the squirrels, they are playing, the squirrels are shouting. Now the meditator goes to see the squirrels being swallowed by the snake. While shouting at the child, puts kerosene oil to the serpent. See the condition. This is Mara's work. Won't allow to meditate. The person may think, later when the night falls, then there won't be troubles. Thinking so, later sits to meditate. Then the cat has caught a mouse playing under the bed. Mouse is not dead, trying to run here and there. If we meditate like this, we will not be able to get the metta samadhi. So we will need to look at this wisely. As a mother protecting her child, sacrificing her life, be good to all beings is not what Supreme Buddha preached. It was strongly interpret the verse Mataya Thaniyam Puttang in Karaniya Metta Sutta. This was not referred to a mother and a child. Here, Mata is used for Supreme Buddha. Niyam means the real son of Supreme Buddha who attained the full enlightenment to arahantship. Ayusa Ekaputta Manurakke was referred as Buddha spent his whole life protecting the Sangha and cared for their well-being. Similarly, we should also spread metta thoughts or loving kindness to everyone. In the Buddha's time, even when a child was left for the father to look after, and even when he neglected the child, then even Buddha praised him. But Buddha and the monks did not have today's problems faced by the modern practitioner. Do not misunderstand this with the modern society, men who neglects their duties and enjoying sensual pleasures with today's worldly lives. Due to law, sensual pleasures, neglecting the duties and running away will have the results whenever possible. We cannot compare it with saintly beings. Supreme Buddha praised only the person who attained arahanthood for neglecting the child. Supreme Buddha knows about the karma and preached Kamma Sakomi, Kamma Dayadu, Kamma Yoni, Kamma Bandhu, Kamma Patisarano, Yam Kammang Karisami, Kalyanang Va Papakam Va Tasadayadu Bhavisami. That we are the owners of our karma, we inherit our karma, related to our karma, abide and bound to our karma, and whatever karma we do for good or for ill, we will be the owners of this karma. Buddha knew that the particular child was deceased and how his future is going to be. Because if one is born, there is a way for living. According to karma, a way will be created. Supreme Buddha, having a full knowledge and wisdom about the world and how things will happen, praised the Arahants for neglecting the child and continuing the practice. But we should not say or do things in this way, as we do not have the wisdom to see the future. And in today's society, there is law and everything works differently. Sadhu, Teruvan Saranai.